See my W124300D. Its engine was engineered to run for 300,000 miles. It's well built, it's reliable, it doesn't quit. Your wealth needs to work the same way, not through constant effort, but through a system that works for you while you're sleeping, gaming, or just living life. I'm Austin, and today, we're talking about building a wealth engine that never quits. Most people think wealth building is pushing a boulder uphill every single day. That's exhausting. Today, I'm breaking down the system that changes that. A wealth engine is a system that generates wealth independently of your time. It has 5 core components working together. Get these right, and your money works for you instead of you working for your money. Here's the reality. Most people earn a paycheck and spend it. They stop pushing, everything stops. That's not a wealth engine, that's just a job. A real wealth engine has 5 parts. 1. Foundation income, your paycheck, side hustle, whatever brings money in. 2. Efficiency system, making sure money doesn't leak away through waste. 3. Asset accumulation, your money goes into things that generate returns. 4. Leverage, using smart debt and systems to multiply your returns. 5. Reinvestment loop, every return you make gets reinvested to make more. When all 5 are working together, that's when money generates money. That's when you achieve escape velocity. Let me break down each one. You can't build a wealth engine without fuel. You need money coming in, and it needs to grow. Your primary job is your foundation. But here's the thing, most people get comfortable and stop growing. Your salary stays the same for years while inflation eats away at it. That's backwards. You need to increase your income every couple of years. How? Education. Learn new skills. Build your network. Track your accomplishments. Then negotiate. Every 18 to 24 months, understand your market value. Are you being paid fairly? Could you earn more elsewhere? Use that as leverage, but don't just rely on one paycheck. Develop side income. This could be freelancing, content creation, a small business, something that doesn't require you to trade time for money forever. The goal is to eventually have income from multiple sources. Here's the assignment. What's your current annual income? Realistically, what could it be in 12 months? If you're not seeing a 5 to 10% increase possible, it's time to make a move. New job, new skills, new side hustle. Your wealth engine can't scale on stagnant income. Income growth is where everything starts. Now you've got money coming in. But here's where most people fail. They leak money everywhere. You could be earning $100,000 and only keeping $5,000 a year for wealth building. Or you could be earning $60,000 and keeping $25,000. The person with the lower income builds wealth faster because they're efficient. Efficiency isn't about being cheap. It's about intentionality. It's about knowing where your money goes. Do this. Pull up your bank statements from the last 3 months. Go line by line. I guarantee you'll find subscriptions you forgot about. Recurring charges you didn't know existed. Most people find $200 to $500 a month in pure waste. That's $2,400 to $6,000 a year that could go into your wealth engine. After you kill the obvious waste, look at your major categories. For most people, housing should be 25 to 30% of your gross income, not 40 to 50%. Transportation should be 12 to 15%, not some $800 car payment on a $60,000 salary. Food should be 10 to 12%. Cook at home, pack your lunch. Here's the reality. If you can reduce your spending by $500 a month through efficiency, that's $6,000 a year. Over 30 years, compounded at 8%, that's $600,000 to $800,000. Just from being intentional about money. Efficiency is the lever that moves everything else. You can't control the market. You can't always increase income overnight. But you can control spending. Use it. Now we're at the good stuff. The money you save needs to go into assets that generate returns. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Your car? Liability. Your house you live in? Liability. An index fund? Asset. A rental property that generates rent? Asset. Most people never build wealth because they don't have assets working for them. Let's start with index funds and stocks. Open an investment account. Buy index funds. The S&P 500 index fund tracks 500 large companies. You're diversified. You're not trying to pick winners, you're betting on the whole market. Here's why this matters. Historically, index funds return about 10% annually. So $500 a month invested for 30 years at 10% returns? That's $1.4 million. You invested $180,000. The market made you $1.2 million. That's compound interest. That's the magic. Next is real estate. This is where leverage gets interesting. You can buy a $300,000 property with only $60,000 down, 20% down payment. The property appreciates. The tenant helps pay your mortgage. You build equity. That's 3 streams of return from one asset. The catch? You need capital to start. You need to be a landlord, but the upside is massive. And lastly, a business or side hustle. If you can build something that scales, a YouTube channel, a digital product, an e-commerce store, that's high leverage. You put in time upfront, then it generates income without proportional effort. The strategy is to diversify. Don't put everything in one basket. A balanced approach might be 60% in index funds, simple, consistent, liquid. 20% in real estate, if you have capital. 20% in a scalable business or side income. Here's the key: start investing immediately. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start with $100 if that's all you have, just start. Time in the market beats timing the market. Now here's the multiplier: leverage. It's using other people's resources to amplify your returns. This is what separates millionaires from billionaires. To get things moving, first let's dive into the concept of smart debt. Borrowing money at 7% to invest in something returning 10%. That's smart. You keep the 3% difference. Real estate is full of this. Rental properties, house hacking. You're using the bank's money to build wealth. The key is to only leverage when you have cash flow to cover obligations. Never max out your debt capacity. Now, using the bank's money is great, but to really scale, you need to go a step further. That's where business leverage comes in. If you build a business with employees, that's leverage. Your employees work to generate profit. Here's a simple example. You charge $150 per hour for your work. You earn $300,000 a year. You hire someone at $60 per hour to do part of the work. They generate $300,000 in revenue. You pay them $125,000. You keep $175,000 from their work. Scale this up. Hire 5 people, and you're making millions from their labor. But here's the reality. You can't manage people or a business 24/7 without burning out. That's why the final piece of the puzzle is systems leverage. It's about building a digital employee that never sleeps. It's the processes and software that do the heavy lifting while you focus on the bigger picture. A YouTube video takes 10 hours to make. If 1 million people watch it, you've leveraged 10 hours across 1 million people. Software, courses, content, these things scale without proportional effort. The equation is simple. Return on investment minus cost of borrowing, multiply that by the amount borrowed and you get the return on leverage. Use these tools to amplify your returns, but be careful not to overextend yourself. One wrong move shouldn't be enough to wipe you out. Always keep a safety net in place. Now, reinvesting is where the magic actually happens. Don't spend your returns. Reinvest them. Here's the math. In year 1, you might make $1,000 on your investments. Year 2, you make $1,100, because the first year's returns also made returns. Year 3, you make $1,210. Your returns are increasing even though you're not adding more money. Think of this as a snowball rolling down a mountain. The longer you let it roll, the bigger the payday gets. That's compound interest. Set up an automatic transfer. $500 from your checking account goes straight to investments each month. You don't even see it, and over time, that becomes your wealth. The timeline looks like this. Years 1 to 2, you're building. This is the grind phase. You're not seeing huge results yet. Years 2 to 5, you start seeing traction. It starts to show real momentum. Years 5 to 10, acceleration. This is where you see the exponential growth happening. Years 10 onwards, this is the crossover point. Your returns outpace your expenses. That's the true definition of freedom. Having a wealth engine that pays for your life while you sleep. Most people quit in the first 2 years. They don't see results, so they stop. Don't be that person. The compounding happens quietly for years, then it explodes. Let's look at a real-world scenario. Take a 25-year-old making $50,000. If they save 30% of that, which is $15,000 per year, and invest it at an 8% return, at the age of 35 they will have $160,000. At 45 they will have $600,000. At 55 they'll have $1,600,000. And at 65 years old they will have accumulated $3,800,000. Notice most of that wealth comes in the last 10 years. That's exponential growth kicking in. That's why starting early matters so much. The reinvestment loop is the ultimate multiplier. It's the difference between hitting your first million and scaling to $100 million. Alright, here's what a real wealth engine looks like. Component 1, money comes in. Component 2, you don't waste it. Component 3, you invest it. Component 4, you use leverage strategically. And Component 5, you reinvest every return. Think of these 5 components as a closed circuit. Once you flip the switch, the loop feeds itself. Your job isn't to push the car anymore, it's just to keep your hands on the wheel. Here's your assignment. Write down your numbers. Income, expenses, assets, and debt. Then find one thing to improve. Cut one expense, start one investment, make one strategic move. Start there. Don't try to do everything at once. One component at a time, build your engine piece by piece. My 300D isn't the fanciest Mercedes, but it's reliable. It was engineered to last 300,000 miles. It doesn't quit. That's what I want your wealth to be like. Not flashy, not trying to impress anyone, just solid, reliable, and running forever. That's a wealth engine that never quits. If you found value in this, hit that like button to help the algorithm share it with others. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next strategy.